Emma Carter was a plus-size woman with a kind heart and a brilliant mind. She worked as a junior financial analyst at one of Chicago's fastest-growing companies, Westbridge Financial Group. Emma was talented, hardworking, and always willing to help her coworkers. But no matter how well she performed, some people only noticed one thing: her weight. Every morning when Emma walked into the office, she heard whispers. "Here comes the office heavyweight. Careful, she might take up the whole elevator." The comments were cruel, but Emma never responded. She believed that hard work would eventually speak louder than people's opinions. Her manager, Richard Collins, was the worst of them all. Whenever Emma shared an idea during meetings, Richard would smirk and say, "Emma, maybe focus less on snacks and more on numbers." Everyone would laugh. Emma would force a smile and continue working. But there was one person she trusted. His name was Daniel Brooks. Daniel was charming, friendly, and always treated Emma kindly. He brought her coffee. He asked about her day, and whenever someone made a rude comment, he would quietly say, "Don't listen to them, Emma. You're different." Over time, Emma began to believe that Daniel truly cared about her. Then came the company's annual gala. Emma spent weeks searching for the perfect dress. She finally chose a beautiful navy blue gown. For the first time in years, she stood in front of the mirror and smiled. "I look beautiful," she whispered. That evening, Daniel walked up to her. "Emma, I need to tell you something important." Her heart raced. "What is it?" "Come with me." Daniel led her toward the stage. The entire office was gathered around. Emma thought he was about to confess his feelings, but Daniel picked up the microphone. "Everyone," he said loudly, "Emma thinks I'm in love with her." The room became silent. Then Daniel laughed. "I was only being nice because she did half my work." People began laughing. Emma's smile disappeared. Daniel looked directly at her. "Emma, did you seriously think I would date someone like you?" The room filled with laughter. Then Richard raised his glass and shouted, "Daniel, you'd need a very big heart." The crowd laughed even harder. Emma stood frozen, her eyes filled with tears. She looked around the room, hoping someone would defend her. No one did. She quietly walked out of the building. Outside, rain began falling. Emma stood alone on the sidewalk, holding her shoes in one hand. She looked through the glass doors. Inside, everyone was still laughing. That night, Emma went home and stood in front of her mirror. For several minutes, she said nothing. Then she wiped away her tears. "You laughed at my body," she said, "but one day, you'll respect my strength." The next morning, Emma submitted her resignation. And without realizing it, Westbridge Financial Group had just lost the person who would one day own it. When Emma handed Richard her resignation letter, he barely looked at it. "You're making a mistake," he said. Emma smiled. "Maybe." Richard leaned back in his chair. "Where are you going to work? You're not exactly leadership material." Emma remained calm. "You'll find out." She walked out of the office for the last time. Emma used her savings to start a small financial consulting business from her apartment. She called it Carter Financial Solutions. At first, no one wanted to hire her. Some clients ignored her emails. Others rejected her because she had no big company behind her name. But Emma refused to quit. She worked 16 hours a day. She studied business strategy at night. She attended networking events, and every time someone doubted her, she remembered the laughter from that night. Not because she wanted revenge, but because she never wanted to feel powerless again. 1 year passed, then two. Emma's company began growing. Small businesses loved her advice. Her clients trusted her. Her reputation spread across Chicago. By the end of the third year, Carter Financial Solutions had become one of the fastest-growing financial firms in the city. Emma was no longer an employee. She was a CEO. She owned a luxury apartment. She employed hundreds of people, and she created a workplace where nobody was judged because of their body, appearance, race, or background. Emma was still plus size, but she was healthier, stronger, and more confident. She no longer looked in the mirror and searched for flaws. She looked in the mirror and saw a leader. Then one morning, her assistant entered her office. Emma, we have a major opportunity. What is it? Westbridge Financial Group is in serious financial trouble. Emma looked up. Westbridge? Yes, they're losing money. Their investors are leaving and they may be forced to sell. Her assistant placed a file on the desk. Our board wants Carter Financial Solutions to buy the company. Emma slowly opened the file. She saw the old company logo. Then she remembered Daniel, Richard, the laughter. She closed the file. Schedule a meeting, she said. Her assistant smiled. You're going to buy them. Emma looked out the window. 3 years ago, they thought I wasn't good enough to work for them. She turned back. Now they'll work for me. A week later, every employee at Westbridge Financial Group was called into the main conference room. Richard stood at the front. He looked nervous. Listen, he said, the company has been acquired. People began whispering. Do you know who bought us? Someone asked. Richard shook his head. No, but the new owner is coming today. Daniel sat quietly near the back. He had changed over the years. His confidence was gone. His career had stopped growing, and he still remembered Emma. Then the conference room doors opened. A confident woman walked inside. She wore a tailored white suit. Her hair was perfectly styled. She carried a black folder in one hand. Everyone turned to look. Richard's face became pale. Daniel stood up. Emma? Emma smiled. Hello, Daniel. The room became silent. Richard stared at her. You bought this company? Emma walked to the front. Yes. She placed the folder on the table. As of this morning, Westbridge Financial Group is officially part of Carter Financial Solutions. Daniel looked shocked. You're the CEO? Yes. Richard stepped forward. Emma, we had no idea. Emma looked at him. That's because you never cared to know who I really was. Richard lowered his eyes. I'm sorry. Emma opened a folder. I reviewed the company's history. Everyone waited nervously. I know that many employees are afraid they'll lose their jobs. Several people looked worried. Emma continued. No one will be fired today. The room became quiet. Then people began smiling, but Emma raised her hand. There will be changes. She looked directly at Richard. Starting today, every employee will be judged by their work, not their appearance. Richard swallowed. Emma continued. No jokes about weight, no comments about someone's body, no discrimination, and no public humiliation. Daniel slowly walked toward her. Emma, can we talk? Emma nodded. They stepped into the hallway. Daniel looked down. I'm sorry for what I did. Emma said nothing. I was immature, he continued. I wanted people to laugh, and I didn't care how much I hurt you. Emma looked at him. Do you remember what you said that night? Daniel nodded. You said you could never date someone like me. Daniel's eyes filled with regret. I was wrong. Emma smiled. No, you were cruel. Daniel looked away. I wish I could take it back. You can't. I know. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Daniel said, You've changed. Emma shook her head. No, I finally became the person I always had the potential to be. Months passed. Under Emma's leadership, Westbridge Financial Group became successful again. The workplace changed. Employees supported each other. People shared ideas without fear of being mocked. And for the first time, employees felt respected. Richard was removed from his management position. He was allowed to stay with the company, but only as a regular employee. One afternoon, he approached Emma. Are you doing this to punish me? Emma looked up from her desk. No. Then why did you take my position? Because you abused your power. Richard remained silent. Emma continued. Being a manager doesn't make you better than anyone else. Richard nodded slowly. I understand now. Meanwhile, Daniel continued trying to win Emma back. One evening, he waited outside her office. Emma. She stopped. I've been thinking about you every day. Emma said nothing. I was too blind to see how amazing you were. Daniel stepped closer. I know I don't deserve another chance, but I still want one. Emma looked at him calmly. Daniel, you didn't lose me. He looked confused. What do you mean? You never truly saw me. Emma continued. You saw my body. You saw someone you could use. You never saw my intelligence, my loyalty, or my heart. Daniel's eyes filled with tears. I see you now, Emma smiled, but I don't need you to. Daniel looked down. Can you forgive me? Emma thought for a moment. Yes. Daniel looked hopeful. Does that mean we can start over? Emma shook her head. Forgiveness doesn't mean you get another place in my life. Then Emma walked away. A few weeks later, Emma appeared on a national business television show. The interviewer asked, Emma, people say your success is the greatest revenge. Do you agree? Emma smiled. No. The interviewer looked surprised. Then what is? Emma looked directly into the camera. The greatest revenge is not destroying the people who hurt you. It's building a life so meaningful that their opinions no longer control you. The audience applauded. Emma continued. They laughed,